When Star Wars Outlaws released, the devs said that they had years worth of content and tons of big plans for this game, but I don't think that's going to happen given basically nobody has played it, and they have admitted that gamers are not even completing quests within this title. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I think that this is hilarious because as a content creator, as somebody who looks at a lot of statistics when it comes to game releases, and I check things like charts such as SteamDB, you never have full confirmation on things unless a company releases sales numbers and they want to boast about it, or if they are notably silent when it comes to large releases, and they have been pretty silent when it's come to Star Wars Outlaws. You would think that this would have been massive for them. They'd be boasting about it on social media all of the time because we're talking about Star Wars here, one of the most notable IPs in existence, and this is a behemoth of a launch for Ubisoft, or it was supposed to be. This was the game that they've put the most money towards marketing, and yet basically nobody's played it. Though now, the devs have actually admitted that so few players have interest in their game that no one, not a single player, has unlocked a mount from completing some of the mini games. Basically, they're saying, oh, it's this quest line, and we understand that people wouldn't get to it, but when not a single person has completed this quest line, you know that they are fucked. And they are just straight up talking about this like that's a good thing. Like, oh, we came up with this quest line that nobody's completed. Haha, that's so funny. No, that's pretty bad. So it says the Canto Bight is not only Kay and Nyx's home, but also the home of the Fathier racing, which is why it was a natural fit for our game. With Canto Bight in the game and syndicates obviously rigging races, it perfectly aligned with the world we were building. The races offer thrilling scenarios where your Fathier might make a desperate sprint to cross a finish line first, capturing the excitement of real horse races. We worked hard to make these races as entertaining as possible, but apparently nobody's very entertained with it because here's a little secret. To this day, no one has acquired their own Fathier. To unlock this, players need to complete dedicated short quests scattered around these betting stations. This will reveal an additional quest that brings Kay back to Toshara for a special opportunity. Let's see if anyone can crack it out, meaning nobody's 100%ed this game. Nobody either likes the races or wants to do the side quests, and no matter which way you slice the cake, it's not a good look. This is not something that you want to announce to the world like, oh hey, by the way, we thought this was really cool. Nobody's playing our fucking game, because now, of course, they're getting completely and utterly annihilated for this because we already knew nobody was playing this title, right? Over on SteamDB, 2,492 was the all-time peak when the game launched on the platform nearly a month ago already. Wow, how time flies. The 24-hour peak is 1,407, and players in game right now is 1,369. Steam is a massive platform, and we are talking about a massive IP, and we are talking about it being made by a massive company. So you would think that this game would have done at least better at launch. It's a single player title, right? So I get that people play it and then they end up not playing it anymore because they just move on to other titles. But the fact that it did not draw anyone in at all initially, and they're also admitting that basically these players are not actually playing the game, is pretty hilarious to me. Now, heading back over to this post on X, gamers are roasting them, saying this is hilarious. Who could sit through this game for that long? No one has that much autism. I actually, at launch, was streaming this game, but I reached a point within my playthrough, and I was close to the end of the game. I think I had like maybe 1 or 2 streams max, where I couldn't complete the main mission. I couldn't complete the story quest. It was completely bugged out, and it didn't matter if I restarted my console, if I restarted the game, it didn't matter what I did, because ultimately I could not complete the main quest, so I could not finish the game, and I have not had the heart to replay up until that point, because I was already like 15 to 20 hours in, or I think I was 15 hours in, and I was so incredibly bored and I did not like the experience. So yeah, I mean, maybe that's why players aren't completing quests, because they can't even complete the main fucking quest, never mind these stupid side quests. These dumb devs, they need to learn to make higher quality products. Years ago, we were begging for games like Outlaws, but now since the franchises have been bastardized, no one wants to commit. This is also a major problem. When I see Star Wars now, I don't get excited. I used to love Star Wars. I have a cat named Meshla, which means beautiful and Mandalorian, right? I loved Star Wars so much. And then, of course, it all started going downhill just a few years ago. And I don't get excited for Star Wars the way that I once did. And so many people would agree, when you are pumping out bad products like The Acolyte, for example, you're going to lose customers at a very rapid rate. The lore has been poisoned, character assassination, modern woke ideology has been inserted. Star Wars has failed. I feel a little bad for them. No matter how good or bad the game was, the damage of the brand Star Wars by Disney is undeniable at this point. Yeah, I totally and completely agree. Sounds like they wasted time producing content that nobody wanted. Maybe they should come back to reality and start making games players want. Wait, they have to get past bankruptcy first, and they're activists. Yeah, unfortunately, these teams are filled to the brim with activists who do not care about making content for gamers. It's like with Dragon Age the Veilguard, the game's director, Corinne Bush, admitted they were happy the game was critically received. Who gives a fuck what the critics say? We just care that gamers are enjoying the game. That's all I care about. I don't care if critics are praising it. Critics do not buy games, they get free codes. What you should do is make games for the players you have, for nostalgic fans. Stop worrying about what the modern audience wants, because they don't fucking exist. And it's so pathetic to see this happen, because Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor were fantastic titles. Fallen Order was way better, at least in my opinion. That game was like a 9 out of 10, and Survivor was like 7.5 out of 10, but they were still really, really good. After that, we just expected more. And I know it's not the same teams or anything, but it's still Star Wars. It's still a game that has hundreds of millions of dollars of budget. So you'd think that this would have been higher quality, and it wasn't. So the developers are admitting that nobody's playing their games. Now gamers are pointing and laughing at them, and I just can't help but laugh as well because of how pathetic this is, because Star Wars just a few years ago was a behemoth. They would have millions and millions of people just lining up to play games, pre-ordering games, never mind after launch, but that's not happening. Nobody's playing these titles, and things are a disaster for Ubisoft. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.